Okay. So what did we discuss in our previous class? We are doing the Bhakti Shastri course. Having completed Bhagavad Gita, we are doing Nectar of Devotion. We completed chapter 7, which talked about evidence regarding devotional principles, where we talked about 1 to 10 activities to set in chapter 7. Now we are, in chapter 6 and chapter 7, and now we are in chapter 8. So any points from previous class? Anyone has got the book Nectar of Devotion? Not Waves of Devotion, Nectar of Devotion.
This is based on.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, what are the points from previous class?
Accept only necessary things, simplify right thinking, induced poverty, so that at a specific age of, respective age of 50 or something like that, detachment should be raised, and the respective also needs to be.
Sorry?
Induced poverty.
Okay, what else should we see?
Giving up the company of non-devotee.
न ततश्च भावेन मोहो बंधश्च अन्य प्रसंगतः योषित संगात यथा पुंसो यथा तत् संगी संगतः. So this is a very famous verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Out of all the associations for a man, what's the most dangerous association? Woman. Attraction to a woman. Okay? Because that is what binds one in the samsara sagara, and vice versa. Okay. But it is mentioned in the scriptures, more dangerous than the attraction to a woman is attraction to a man who is fond of woman. Because then you have someone who is evangelizing that idea with us, who is socializing that idea, who is encouraging us, like that, to indulge. So that kind of association is even more dangerous than a direct association. Sangi Sangata. Anything else? So one must give up the company of non-devotees. Who is a non-devotee? We discussed that demigod worshippers are actually non-devotees. Why?
It is drawn out of.
What if someone comes and says, मैं तो गणेश का भक्त हूँ, गणपति बाप्पा मोरी, पुढच्या वर्षी लवकर या. What if someone tells you like that?
I mean, these are all born out of lust.
Because usually people who go to Devi Devatas, they go only for material desires. There is no bhakti involved over there. Nothing wrong with demigods, but the people go to demigods usually with material desires. Rarely anyone goes to demigods and tells them, give me Krishna bhakti. Rarely anyone does that. And if someone were to do that, he can actually directly go to the Lord himself. Because the Lord is not prohibiting anything. He is not saying, come through the demigods. That only happens in corporate life. Our bosses may tell, come through my subordinate. But the Lord doesn't say like that. Anyone can approach him. So there is no compelling reason why someone has to go to the demigods. Okay. Nor the children are making noise. What should we do? What do you all suggest? They should be not quiet. They cannot be quiet. They should be engaged. Yes. What's your idea? Pardon? Let them out. So you are now appointed as the secretary of the Bhakti. If you tell, nobody will mind. No, don't. So yes, if you can't manage silence, then take them out for some time and come back after some time. Okay. But don't let them continue doing that because it disturbs everyone. It disturbs me also. I can't see even now. this talking going on, I can't concentrate, that's the problem. If I can't concentrate, I can't serve you properly. I really can't serve you properly if I can't concentrate. Okay, so giving up the company of non-devotees includes Mayavadi also, we saw that. Just by adding the name Nanda towards the end of our name doesn't mean we are spiritual masters. There are so many Nandas in the world. Okay, this Nanda, that Nanda. Just by adding that Nanda, oh no, I'm not targeting you.
His name is changed.
Swami so and so Nanda. Because people who do not understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness may think that anyone who looks holy and who has a beard and a kamandalu, such a person is a saintly person. That is not necessarily true. I was reading in the newspapers 2-3 days back. One man was sitting with a kamandalu in the local train of Bombay. Did anyone hear that? Nobody has heard this. Okay. He was traveling. There is a place called Ambarnath in Bombay. So there was a Karjat train. The man was sitting nicely inside, and then, not sitting actually, he was standing. And then there was a scuffle this sadhu had. It was a sadhu. There was a scuffle he had with another man. Over who should sit on that one seat. In Bombay you have that. Mera jaga hai, mera, are main pehla beta. It's like that. In the scuffle, this sadhu removed a knife and cut him. That fellow died. And people are writing, one murdered by a sadhu. The Times of India is a ajeeb newspaper. One murdered by a sadhu. You are calling the person a sadhu and he murdered. If he is murdered, he is not a sadhu then, obviously. Sadhu thodi na murder karta. So it's a very funny world we live in. So people don't know who is sadhu. Anyone who has kamandalu. Actually, ultimately it was written that he was a beggar. Even beggars have a big beard. Like that. And they can also have a kamandalu in their hand. So sadhu means what? Sadhu means one who understands three things. He should be an expert in SAP. Sambandha, Avideya and Prayojana. Sambandha means you ask, if you want to test someone, what should you ask him? Who am I? What is my relationship with the Supreme? Ye pehla sawal. What should be the jawab of that? If someone says you are the body, enjoy. Is he a sadhu? No. What will he say? You are the spirit soul. ठीक है भाई, एक test pass हो गया. And then who are you? I am a spirit soul. Bhagavan is also spirit, so I am Bhagavan. If he tells like that, reject. Okay. That is Mayavadi philosophy. So simple. So Sambandha is, I am spirit soul, and the spirit soul is always eternal servant of the Supreme Soul. This is first test. First question, tick. Okay. Second question, what is the goal of life? If he says, khao piya aish karo, definitely he is not sadhu. Okay. If he says, ठीक है थोड़ा पूजा पाठ भी करो लेकिन life is to enjoy, what about that? He is also not sadhu. So his answer will be very clear. The goal of life is to escape the cycle of birth, disease, old age and death and go back to the spiritual world, having developed love for the Lord and serve Him eternally in the spiritual abode and come back to the material world if required on the mission. If He requires, then you can go anywhere, even to the hellish planets. But the goal is to serve. Samasiddhir Haritoshana. It is to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? That is number 2 answer. Third, okay sir, what is the process? Now, Sambandha has happened. Prayojana has happened. Relationship is known. Prayojana is what? Goal. Goal is known. And third is Abhideya. Abhideya means what is the process? What is the process? Huh? Devotional service. If he recommends any other process, reject such a person. That person is not a sadhu. Okay. So these are 3 things. So anybody who is not preaching this or who doesn't believe in any of this or who may have some knowledge but thinks that no, हमारे पास time नहीं है ये सब करने का. That person you can call as a non-devotee. Right? So we don't associate with such persons. Once Srila Prabhupada was asked, how should I become a devotee? How should I become a serious devotee? So Prabhupada asked him back, how do you become a drunkard? How do you become a drunkard? Associate with drunkards. Tum bhi piyega. Correct, no? So, how do you associate with serious? How do you become a serious devotee? By associating with serious devotee. Simple. Here also. So, it is association only. Not accepting unfit disciples. We saw all that. Constructing many temples. Not accepting unfit disciples. We should also remember, as if you are taking up leadership roles in ISKCON, as mentors, counselors, Bhakti Vriksha leaders, we must be very careful that we should not recommend unfit members for things like initiation, shelter, etc. These are all serious matters. Not because they invited us, somewhere, they are very kind to us, therefore, chalo yaar, theek hai, tu mere saath acha hai na, bas ho gaya. Not like that. That means we are just serving our false ego. And we are not serving them also. Okay. So, the standards are same for everyone. What are the standards for shelter in ISKCON? 16 rounds and following regular devotees. So we don't compromise on these things. So not to recommend, we should not, in one sense, not say unfit, not to recommend devotees prematurely. Because what will happen, they will also struggle. Not only, we will be responsible, but they will also struggle. So let them come to that platform and then you recommend. It's not that, this is not this is not something very light subject matter, taking shelter and again changing the shelter status. Now not this Maharaj. मैं सोच रहा था वो महाराज से लो, बाद में मैं सोचा था प्रभु इनसे लगेगा तो कैसा लगेगा आपको? What do you think? This is not that kind of conversation. It's like saying मैं television विजय सेल से लो या some other कोई दुकान से दूसरा दुकान में जाऊँ. ज़राब वाला थोड़ा अच्छा सस्ते में देता होगा. So it's not like that. This is a spiritual master. It is a serious subject matter. This is not like a window shopping exercise. So as self-servants, we have to understand what maturity level that person has attained and what seriousness that person has attained, what one-pointedness that person has attained, and then we will recommend. The same principles are the same. Because at the end of the day, the spiritual masters, we are closer to these people than the spiritual masters from who they aspire from. Because the spiritual master comes only once a year and everyone is at his best behavior in front of the spiritual master. When the cat is away, the mouse is at play. Okay? Uske baad 364 days of the year, or 51 weeks of the year, when the spiritual master is not here, then we know what these disciples are doing. Okay? So therefore, as self-servants, then we need to be very, very careful in recommending people. Once we are recommending means the spiritual master is trusting this recommendation. The temple president is trusting our recommendation and signing on the recommendation letter. The spiritual master is trusting the temple president. So that means you can imagine the ownership what we have. So we not accepting unfit disciples, straightforwardness in ordinary dealings, and equilibrium in loss and gain. Whether we have loss or gain, devotee is equipoised. Knowing very well that the Lord will certainly take care. So now we move to the chapter 8, which is called as offenses to be avoided. There are two types of offenses which can come in the way of bhakti. What are the two types of offenses? Correct. One is seva aparad and the other is nama aparad. So seva aparad pertains to offenses which we commit during our service, during our seva. There is sadhana, there is seva. So offenses which we commit during seva are called as seva aparad. Offenses which we commit during sadhana are called as nama aparad. Does it make sense? So what happens is, if we commit these offenses, then it is mentioned that our spiritual progress is checked. CHECKED, checked. Okay, our spiritual progress is checked. What do you mean by spiritual progress is checked? It means that by by chanting for so many months or years, we have accumulated some good spiritual deposits. Like, for example, you'll keep on putting money into your savings account or whatever, or into your offset account. So you have built some equity for yourself over a period of time, spiritual equity for yourself. Now, what is the difference between offset account and or your bank account or fixed deposit and superannuation account? What is the difference between both for us?
One can be withdrawn, one cannot.
Correct. One can be accessed readily, another cannot be accessed. So, if we make offenses in bhakti, our bhakti account will become superannuation account. It will be there because bhakti shukriti can never, it is not taken away at all. The Lord promises in Bhagavad Gita, Neha vikrama nasosti pratvayona vidyate swalpa mapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhaya. Which means even a small amount of devotional service which is performed has eternal credit. और हमेशा के लिए credit में चला जाता है. Nobody can take it away. Okay, but the problem is, yes, superannuation में money is going, but I can't access it. Now, till the time you reach 65 or whatever, God knows whether we will reach that age or not. That's a different issue. So here also, when we do offenses to the holy name, then we stop receiving mercy from that account. So our devotional progress is checked there. What happens is typically, there are few things which happen when we do these offenses, and we'll see which are these offenses. Seva aparad or nam aparad. One is, slowly we will find that we will lose taste for the holy name. First thing that happens is, jana hai kya abhi mandir? That's what happens. Right? Whereas initially, kab jana hai mandir? I am waiting. When will I go? When will I sit in Bhagavatam class? When will I hear? We are waiting. But after some time we think that, jana hai kya? Is it? Bhagavatam class. Like that. This is what happens. Or every mala is like a rock. It doesn't move. You get tired by the time you finish one round. What to speak of 16 rounds. Slowly the taste for the holy name also goes away. And when this happens, what happens? When this happens, Maya jhapatiya dhare. What happens immediately? When the spiritual desires go down, it's like a taraju. You know what's a taraju? Taraju kya bolta hai? Scale, weighing scale. Okay. So when you put something here, what happens? The other one automatically goes up. You remove the weight, put it on, it goes down. Correct? So this is the spiritual and material inclination of a person. So what happens? When the spiritual inclinations go down, automatically what happens? The material inclination goes up. So you'll naturally find again all those desires which you have left behind before you became a devotee will all come back ek saath. Okay? Does it make sense? And that is a time when we know, and this happens in the life cycle of every single devotee. Ye hota hi hai. And it happens several occasions in the lifetime of a devotee. At several occasions it happens. It doesn't happen once. It's a test which will continue through the lifetime. But a devotee is quick to discern. A serious devotee is quick to discern this and identify. Hang on. Abhi kuch to ho raha hai idhar lakda. Hang on. My desire for prestige is going up nowadays. Hang on. My every house is looking very attractive to me. I feel like buying all those houses. कभी-कभी लगता है घर में फर्नीचर ऐसा लगाओ बस लोग देखते रह जाएंगे. The moment that happens means what? It's time to, something is wrong here, which means the taste for devotional life is going down. Only then automatically the material desires will go up. So a devotee immediately checks. A serious devotee is one who always checks that desire when it comes. The moment it comes, a serious devotee is one who immediately asks that question. You don't have to tell anyone all these things. You can just stand in front of the mirror and say, "Bhai, mere, kahan se aaya desire abhi tere ko ye? Where did you get this desire from?" Suddenly. This we have to talk to ourselves in the mirror. Mirror will tell you a lot of things. Correct? So we have to ask. So devotee always checks. whatever mind is giving all these suggestions, na, enjoy, man, like that. No. Sorry, hang on. Where are you? What are you telling me now? It's completely contrary to what I am hearing from my spiritual master. So therefore, check. So these offenses have to. Offenses come from these material desires, and the more then we get these material desires, then the more we are susceptible to making offenses. So we are caught like that. So everyone has to carefully, all of us have to carefully avoid, doing these seva offenses as well as nama offenses. Okay. Now, in this chapter, which is called as offenses to be avoided, chapter 8, there are a list of 32 offenses in the matter of serving the Lord. 32 offenses are there in the matter of serving the Lord. These are called as seva aparad because they are pertaining to serving the Lord. So we'll quickly go through each of these. The first one is, one should not enter the temple of the deity in a car or palanquin or with shoes on the feet. Okay. One should not enter the temple in a car or palanquin or shoes on the feet. Okay. So usually we have seen many devotees entering with palanquin here in the temple. Nahi. You come in palanquin? No. Anyone comes in palanquin? Palki mein hai. Ram is our palanquin. Okay. So this was for an earlier day and age. At that time, what do you mean by coming in palanquin? So we should not only take it literally. We should also understand it metaphorically. Metaphorically, what does it mean coming in a palanquin? Okay, that's one view. Car is as good as palanquin, but what does it? Or car, palanquin, everything. What does it? What is the message? Exactly. Correct. Coming with an upadhi. Upadhi means coming with a false identity to the temple. Side mein hata yaar, saab aa gaya. Not that kind of attitude. You are coming to the temple. Correct. Everyone, मैं आ गया मंदिर में. The moment that starts coming in, that means there is something wrong in our spiritual sadhana. We are forgetting that at the end of the day, what are we? Nothing. Okay. Gopi Bhartur Padakamale or Das. At the end of the day, we are nothing. We are insignificant. So we have to come to the temple considering ourselves as insignificant, whoever we may be. Today you may be a mentee, tomorrow you will become a mentor, next day you may become a Bhaktivedanta leader, fourth day you may become a counselor, fifth day you may become temple president, sixth day you may become GBC. Whoever we are, the mentality while coming into the temple, in fact at all points in time, should be that I have come to this temple to serve. I have come to this temple to learn something from the devotees. Okay? To serve and to hear and learn. And to see the deities. To serve the deities in some way. I have come here to increase my devotional, the intensity of my devotion. So if we come in that mode, then that is a correct mode. So that is what is mentioned. One should not enter the temple of the deity in a car or palanquin or with shoes on the foot. All shoes on the foot, it reeks of arrogance. Somebody coming inside like that. Like one day, 2-3 years back, I think I told this in the class. One famous Bollywood singer came here, our temple. In childhood, I knew this singer, so he came, okay, big fat. So he came inside, and then there was a mic which was kept there. So everything was nicely. Some devotee was arranging mic and all. It was, I think, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock Aarti time was going on. So immediately the person came here, went and saw, "Arey wah, mere liye mic bhi tayar hai." And then Jitendra Prabhu, excuse me. Jaya Jaya Gora Chandar, Arati ka Shobha. And the man was like, ये क्या है भाई? Because you are used, you are used to wherever you are going, you are used to everyone thirsting mic, Here is a place where ऐसा नहीं होता है. So therefore it is very difficult. Somebody was mentioning the other day also, in some class, was I think Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj probably was mentioning in the Ballarat retreat. Somebody came to the temple, very famous personality, and
Film star.
Huh?
UK star.
Everyone was looking at the not look no, but that is ulta.
No one was looking at the deities.
Govind Prabhu was mentioned when he came here the same point.
Okay.
So,
We went to the Bhaktivedanta and we didn't get the attention.
Correct. Okay, so keep all upadhis at home and then come. And from home, what do? Take it and put it in the garbage. Or upadhi means what? False identity. Sarva upadhi vinir muktam tat paratvena nirmalam. Rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchate. This is a verse from Nectar of this coming here. It will be a key memory verse for you. Keep all upadhis outside. सब घर में रख के आने का. I am a senior devotee, whatever syndrome that we go through. Temple means like that. So we have to learn the art of coming to temple as normal people. Number 2, one should not fail to observe the various festivals for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, such as Janmashtami and Ras Yatra. So please participate. We have been advised to participate in all festivals. Participate means what?
contribute.
To serve. To do something. And we can serve with our money by giving donation. We can serve with our intelligence by assisting in planning the festival. We can assist with our skills by maybe if you are a computer expert, do something, create a portal wherein it becomes easy for devotees for people from all over the world to donate to the temple, something like that. In some way, use your intelligence, skills, or physical services, or deity services, or kirtans, or simply menial services like cleaning the pots, taking the plates, anything, serving the Lord in some manner. Or if you are very good in reception committee, Hare Krishna, if you have a very good smile and if you are a nice bol bachan, then dovetail that service in the counter by inviting people. Hare Krishna, welcome, how are you? People should feel genuinely welcome. So if you are good at that, those kind of, some people have a talent for doing that. The wrong because the guy sitting there, you just sit. देख के लगेगा अभी क्यों आया that person may be very good at other services. Right? So if you have a pleasant countenance, then you are very apt for these kind of services. So service in some way. Don't observe to follow these festivals and serve in some way. One should not avoid bowing down before the deity. One should not avoid bowing down before the deity. It also happened few days back only, last week. One very, very famous personality came inside the temple, did not bow down to the deities. Of course, he was he was enwrapped, he was captivated by the beauty of the deities. But after some time, but then never bowed down to the deities. Very famous personality. Okay. Fourth one, one should not enter the temple to worship the Lord without having washed one's hands and feet after eating. One should not enter the temple to worship the Lord without having washed one's hands and feet after eating. Huh? Concession is there. So at least in Melbourne, we have to wash our mouth and hands. At least that we can do. In cold country, we cannot remove your socks and wash your feet. You can't put your socks back then after that. So at least rinse the mouth and wash the hands. So we should never enter the temple if we have eaten something without rinsing our mouth and our hands. Never enter the main temple premises. One should not enter the temple in a contaminated state. According to Vedic scripture, if someone dies in the family, the whole family becomes contaminated for some time according to its status. For example, if the family is Brahmana, their contaminated period is 12 days. For the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, it is 15 days. And for Shudras, it is 30 days. So how many days for us? 30 days. Very good.
Zero.
Huh?
We don't have anything.
So except for Jagan Prabhu, everyone please follow 30. Kalo Shudra Shambhava. But we are not devotees. Huh?
Okay, from the.
I know what you are saying. Yeah. Okay. No, so so this is a very the implementation of this is a bit confusing, to be very honest. Okay. For example, there are two views about it. Thought which came to your mind was also that what is the ultimate rule? Always remember Krishna. That we discussed, you remember, at the beginning. All rules are subordinate to this particular rule. Highest rule is what? Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So when serving Krishna, a devotee is not concerned with accumulating sins. So we have the pastime where Lord Krishna had a headache. When he had a headache, Narad Muni went to everyone and said that, can you give the dust of your feet to put on the Lord's head? Because Lord said, give me the dust from the devotee's feet. So nobody was like, kya pagal ho gaya? No, I don't want to, incur sin. The dust of my feet going on the Lord's head, no way, I'll incur sin. But when he went to the gopis, what happened? Immediately, Krishna headache, kuch bhi le lo yaar, dust le lo, hamari feet se. Koi problem nahi hai. Because all they are interested in is what? The Lord's headache should go away. Right? So that is the highest rule at the end of the day. So in order to serve the Lord, we can break any. No rule is higher than the rule of serving the Lord. So always we keep this in mind. Okay. For example, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's servant was there. And what was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doing? He was lying exactly at the entrance to the kitchen. In the corridor, he was lying exactly in such a way that the servant could not enter. Okay. But what did the servant do? He crossed over with his legs on top of, you can imagine, if Ananta Shesh is lying like this, you are crossing over Ananta Shesh like this with the head. What a big offense it is. But he did that. He did that, went inside, cooked for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? And then what happened?
He stayed there only. He didn't
And then he stayed there, because Mahaprabhu, and then he never came out. Okay, then when Mahaprabhu said, why you are not eaten? He said, I could not cross over you, but you crossed over me earlier. So he said, because at that time I was serving you. The next time it was to serve myself, so I did not cross over. So this is a very important lesson which comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay. So no rule is higher than that rule, and all rules are subordinate to that rule. So the implementation of this principle, if we have something in our family like this, then it should be done in consultation with senior devotees. Okay. Typically, it's a good idea to consult someone like Bhaktiman Prabhu, who is the Pujari. For example, if someone leaves the family, then for example, in last year it happened that one of my father's brothers passed away. Okay, and I had deity worship. Then I asked Bhaktiman Prabhu, what should I do? He said, "Theek hai, mat aao, 10 din ke liye. And after that you come." So whatever he tells, then we do. Comes from a devotee. Immediately mat aana. Of course, if there are no pujaris at all, then what to do? Then will you follow all these things? Not possible. For example, there is a famous book called as Saints of Raja. How many of you have read that? Nobody has read? A little bit you have read. Saints of Raj. So in this book there is a devotee. The Saints of Raj is a book which talks about lot of devotees who have attained the highest in bhakti in the last few years. Of course, in Bhagavatam we read about Prahlad Maharaj and so many charitra. But this is what about now? Hali mein 1940s, 1950s, 1960s. So it talks about so many 1850s. So many devotees. It talks about. So in that there is one pastime given of a devotee. I think her name was Pishima. Pishima had Gaur Nitai deities, and Pishima used to always serve her deities, cook nice prasadam. She was an old lady, reasonably old. So of course, she was still having her monthly cycle. So what happened? During her monthly cycle, Pishima decided not to cook for the deities. So as she was sleeping, suddenly she saw in a dream saying that her deities are begging on the streets. So, for food, like that. And actually, I don't remember the exact past time. It was actually that when she came, she finds that the deities are missing. And then the deities come again in another dream and then tell her, I can't connect it properly, but just understand the principle. They tell her that, hey Ma, we are dependent on you for food every day. आप हमको भोग लगाते हो, right? If you are our mother, will a mother ever not cook for her child just because she is having her monthly cycle? Obviously not. So which rule is highest? Cook for the. Yeah. So if we have home deities, then we still, of course, we don't come to the temple because temple deities there are other people who are there, but there are few people who cook for home deities. You can't tell everyone else, please cook for my home deities. Of course, devotees are kind enough; they will do that. But for home deities, that is okay. That much of standard we'll have to. In Kali Yuga, we can't do much. Okay. Actually, if we strictly follow, the lady has to sit somewhere outside, somewhere in one corner, right? And cloth and all should not touch also. But the moment you enter a house which is carpeted, everything is muchi. Right from the first word go, you are finished. So we cannot. In Kali Yuga, it is very difficult to follow all these rules and regulations. But for a devotee, then still the lady cooks for the deities. So in my house specifically, then I offer it. She will not offer it. I offer it during those days. Okay, but she still cooks. Okay. One should not bow down on one hand. Yeah, many times devotees come and bow in one hand.
So the 10 days thing you were talking about.
What is that?
The 10 days thing you were talking about. Were you told not to come to the temple with both or not to come to the puja?
I was told I can come to the temple, but not to do deity worship. Can we live for 10 days without coming to the
That's
temple?
what I was thinking.
Hands up if you can live without coming to the temple for 10 days. Can't imagine that. Thankfully. Of course, if you say it with pride, Krishna will arrange that also. But thankfully. Obviously, devotees can't live without seeing the deities. How can we survive, isn't it? One should not bow down on one hand. So how does it happen? When many times devotees are chanting, and as they chant, they enter the temple. कहीं ज़्यादा ना हो जाए राउंड, पकड़ के रखता हूँ भीड़, कहीं 10 राउंड ज़्यादा ना कर लूँ जल्दी से. You know what I mean? May I not inadvertently end up chanting little bit more. Okay, so usually devotees bow down in one hand. That is not. So there are two types of pranams: Pancha Anga Pranam and Ashtanga Pranam. Ashtanga Pranam is for men. Men can do both, but women do only Pancha Anga Pranam. But both of them, the hands have to be completely spread out. There are various styles which you see devotees doing. Some of them do like this. Some of them do like this. So many styles are there. Some of them will do like this. So, or some of them like this. So many styles are there. But the etiquette is given in Vedic. If you do Vaishnava etiquette manual, it's clearly given how one should pay obeisances. So that should be followed. Hare Nama Anukirtanam. Not that Bhagwan to dil mein aa raha hai, kya hai, ek haath hai, do haath hai. No, that's not the argument. Hare Nama Anukirtanam. So we don't argue in office, no. Project is successful. I have not followed methodology. What nonsense. No. Do we argue like that? They'll say, get lost. Correct. Everyone has to follow the processes, right? So similarly here also, Anukirtanam, the way that the seniors have done, we follow.
Same when you are chanting beads in the hand, not in the middle of chanting, but when the bag is there in a folded shape. So when you fold it, the bag is there, you put the hand like this, it doesn't touch the ground.
Not like this. So you can use that, but it should be like this, the palm. That is also allowed. The bead bag comes like this and then you pay. That is perfectly alright. Yeah, that is alright. It is shown in Vaishnava etiquette manual. So if you have a bead bag in your hand, so keep the bead bag like this and then you pay your dandavats like this. That's okay. That's perfectly acceptable. But not like this. Bead bag aisa hai, ek hath aisa. No, that is not acceptable. So one should not bow down on one hand. Number 7, one should not circumambulate in front of Sri Krishna. One should not circumambulate in front of. So we don't go to the backside of the deity ever.
I didn't get this. What is this?
And hold on. The process of circumambulating the temple is that one should begin circumambulating from the deity's right hand side of the temple and come around. Such circumambulation should be performed outside the temple structure at least 3 times a day. So devotees don't go into the altar and do circumambulation around the Lord. I have seen this happening when I was in Toronto. I remember I was attending one. It was another temple. It was not an ISKCON temple. It was another temple where those days I used to attend. So many of these Bhagavad Saptas. Some professional Bhagavatas were also there. So I used to go there. So then they had one temple was there. There Radha Krishna was also there standing. Then everybody was there. Very flexible temple. So everything was there. And then, people were going around like this. Some people were going around here. Some people were going around. Some people were going like this. Everything was happening there. But the Shastra Vidhi is that you don't directly go and circumambulate the deity. We can go around what is called as Sannadhi. The correct word? I don't know what you call that as. Sankram. Even in Jagannath Puri, they have a wall behind and then you go around. Behind, but you don't usually see the back side of the deities. You never do that. That's what. That is. One should not spread his legs before the deity. Okay. Aram se before the deity, not like that. One should not sit before the deity holding the ankles, elbows, or knees with one hand. पैर पकड़ के बैठा है. One should not lie down before the deity of Krishna. Okay. One should not accept prasad before the deity. So we don't accept prasad inside the kitchen. Only what we are allowed is only charanamrita. But not that we are eating taking a plate inside. You will not find that happening in the temple. One should never speak a lie before the deity. Difficult one, no? Number 13. Hands up if you have never lied before the deity. Okay. But it is mentioned, one should not speak a lie before the deity. When we say, Prabhu, please accept me as your servant in front of the deities, are we allowed to say it? Do we mean it? One should not talk very loudly before the deity. Usually it happens, sometimes, very loud conversation happens. That is not to be done before the deity. It is not disrespect for the deities. One should not talk with others before the deity. Unless it is, one can discuss Krishna consciousness topics. When you say not talk, if it's required to tushyanti cha ramanti cha, if the topics are about spiritual life, then it is fine. We talk. But again, we don't talk too loudly so that we are disturbing everyone. Because there are so many devotees who will be chanting and then we are going chapat with our own voice. That should not happen. 15. One should not cry or howl before the deity. Okay. One should not cry before the deity. It's also mentioned like that. So many times, why devotees cry? There are 2 types of devotees who cry. Devotee jiska band baja hua hai life mein, they will cry. The other one is devotees who want to imitate senior exalted Vaishnavas. They will also cry. Sometimes for cheap adoration, sometimes people cry. Just like that, in our village and all, that lady will go like this, and then they will say, Bhagwan hai isko upar, amma undurta, and everybody will kind of give special respect to her. So therefore, we have to understand these things very carefully. Because everyone wants cheap adoration. So कुछ भी नखरा करने का उधर, and then so that everyone will think this person ये बहुत advanced है, बहुत रोया भगवान के, सब टासू टपक रहे थे, कितना प्रेम होगा कृष्णा के अंदर. If it is there, कुछ सेवा करो जाके, रोने का क्यों है भगवान के सामने? Yeah. Prabhu, you had a question or? Not me.
I had a question.
You had a question.
So what in the case of a genuine case, where in a family they have some issues and they wanted to express that to Krishna or Gauranga?
That we have fought with our wife.
Wife.
You want to cry in front of the Lord. Oh my
No,
Kya kiya maine?
not this, but generally for some wants or some desires. So to express our needs or express our things to Gauranga, we go and it all.
It happens.
Comes, it happens.
It
So
can
what
happen.
in
It's not that we have to check our emotions. It happens sometimes. It happens. It's not that we never cry in front of the Lord. Sometimes it happens. But then we have to check our emotions always. We have to check our emotions. It should be done. It should be done. It should be done always. And Prabhupada led by example. Prabhupada was Rasika Bhakta. Prabhupada always checked his emotions. You hardly you would hear that Prabhupada was crying and like that. Even Prabhupada sometimes when he used to sing Jai Radha Madhav, once it happened that Prabhupada was singing Jai Radha Madhav and he was getting choked in the throat, because when your emotions become overwhelming, your throat starts choking, and then after that then tears start coming out, correct? So when that happened, Prabhupada said, okay, do Kirtan, and then Prabhupada left the room. Okay. And then after that he came back after some time. So always check the emotions, because the emotion should not come in the way of service. What is more important? Service is to the Lord is more important. Our emotions are always subordinate to service of the Lord. In fact, there is one pastime also. Someone correct me. Who was the devotee who was fanning? Abhiram Thakur, correct? What is Abhiram Thakur?
Rukmani was fanning Lord Krishna.
Rukmani was also fanning Lord Krishna, but then what happened?
She was falling over, feeling ecstasy.
She was feeling ecstasy, then what happened?
Falling over. She controlled her emotions. And she said, my ecstasy is coming out my way.
Right. Everyone heard that? One should not talk with others before the deity. One should not cry or howl before the deity. One should not quarrel or fight before the deity. But one can fight or quarrel in the courtyard. No. If that is what our mind is telling us, that is also not acceptable. It's not that, oh, Prabhu, you told only one should not fight or quarrel in the deity in front of it. Therefore, I am doing in the courtyard. Not like that. Okay. That is not Yukta Vairagya. One should not quarrel at all, because if we don't quarrel or fight in front of the deity, we will avoid seva aparadha. But by fighting with a devotee in the courtyard, we will do nama aparadha. Right? Same effect is impact is same. Of course, one thing is there. Please understand. If we do seva aparadha, then we can counter the seva aparadha by chanting the holy names. But if we offend the holy names, then Bahu Janma Kari Yedi Shravana Kirtanam, we do in the morning, no? Krishna Prem Dhan will never come. Tapu Tara Paye, Krishna Prema Dhan. Not possible. One should not chastise anyone before the deity. Right? Don't yell at anyone or correct anyone before the deity. One should not be charitable to beggars before the deity. One should not speak very harshly to others before the deity. One should not wear a fur blanket before the deity. Fur blanket before the deity, which means what? Don't become too comfortable and cozy before the deities. Especially in winter, if you are hearing Bhagavatam and if you have a fur blanket, you know how much of Bhagavatam we will hear. Because if someone is suffering from insomnia, Bhagavatam class is the best place. अच्छे सो जाते हैं. So if you have a fur blanket on top of that, you can imagine the Bhagavatam class. One should not eulogize or praise anyone else before the deity. One should not glorify anyone else before the deity. One should not speak any ill names before the deity. Obviously, we won't do that. Don't give bad words in front of the deity. In short.
So the one before is.
Huh?
The one before. Can you say something?
Which one? One should not speak any ill names before the deity.
You let it go.
One should not praise anyone else before the deity.
It happens, right? We glorify the other personalities in the...
Good point.
There is explanation, Prabhu, in the...
Bhaktivedanta Swami
is giving explanation.
What is the explanation?
Grace of Devotion.
He says that we glorify spiritual master in front, but we glorify him as a servant of the Supreme Lord. Like that, so it actually, it looks contradictory, but it actually resolves because we are glorifying the spiritual master as a servant.
Thank you. You made the job easy for him.
He's asking me to read the book.
Pardon me?
He's telling me to read it.
One should
Twenty-four.
one should not fail to worship the deity according to one's means. One should not fail to worship the deity according to one's means. Which means, if we can afford something, then we must donate. One should not fail to worship the deity according to one's means. Which means, if with our sharir or with our deha, we can, or with our intelligence, we can do something, we can use our resources to serve the Lord, then we must not refrain from doing so. Otherwise, we are called as kripana or miser. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that the Lord is satisfied if some devotee offers him even a leaf or a little water. So, whatever within the means, one should serve the Lord. One should not eat anything which is not offered first to Lord Krishna. So, not to eat bhoga. Eating bhoga can have serious consequences. Again, quoting from Saints of Raj book. Okay, in Saints of Raj book, there is one Babaji who is sitting inside a cave and he is meditating. They talk about various saints in this. I forgot the name of the Babaji. One day, as the Babaji is meditating in a cave, a dog enters. And these people are transcendental. So, Samadarshi does not see the body. Samadarshi sees the soul. So, immediately he could understand who is the dog. So, he starts having a conversation with the dog. All these are recent pastimes in Vrindavan. So he asks the dog, how did you get into the body of the dog in Vrindavan? So, the dog says that in the last lifetime, I was a pujari in Madan Mohan temple, nearby. It was Sanatan Goswami's temple. No? I was a pujari there. So, one day I was very hungry. So, I was taking rasagullas for the Lord. No? So, egg maar liya before it went to the Lord. Therefore, I have to suffer one lifetime as a dog. In Vrindavan, but in Vrindavan. Not a gentleman in CBD. Which is better.
That is still worse, sir.
Okay. So, as a dog in Vrindavan. And then the dog still could remember the past lifetime. How many dogs can remember past lifetimes and speak? Not many. So, it was not like any other municipality dog. This was a birth which was specifically, karma which was specifically given by Krishna himself. Just like the Bharat Maharaj. In the next lifetime, Bharat Maharaj became a deer. But that was not a karmic thing. It was as ordained by the Lord. Because even in that deer body, he could remember his past lifetime and he took to devotional life very seriously. And then went back to Godhead like that. Because of the attachment to deer, he strayed away. Though he was on the platform of Bhava, which is before Prema. You remember that ladder? Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivriti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava and Prema. He was on Bhava platform. वहाँ से ही गिर गया वो भरत महाराज. Can you imagine? So one should not eat anything which is not offered first to Krishna. So remember, check yourself if you are taking something and putting it in your mouth. Everything in this world is bhoga, whether we are a devotee or whether we are a non-devotee. Where is it mentioned? It is mentioned in Isopanisad. Isha vashyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita magrida kashyasvidhanam. Everything animate or inanimate is owned by the Lord. Everything is owned by the Lord. हम कुछ लेके ही नहीं आए थे धरती में, ना कुछ लेके जाने वाले. Everything is owned by Him. Therefore, we must accept what is our quota. What is our quota? That which we offer and then we partake. That which is required to maintain body and soul together. Anything more than that is above the quota. One should not fail to offer fresh fruit and grains to Krishna according to the season. This is very important. Okay. So right now the persimmon season is going on. So I am seeing Yamunalila is buying a lot of persimmons. So yeah. So that the season is going on. So when avocado is going on, then we offer a lot of avocados. When mango season comes, immediately we must offer mango. So seasonal fruits must be offered to the Lord. Like that. Seasonal fruits, whatever, vegetables. Whatever.
Fruit and grains.
After food has been cooked, no one should be offered any foodstuff unless it is first offered to the deity. Almost same principle. One should not sit with his back towards the deity. This is very important. We never sit with the back to the deity. Sometimes the only time when we are allowed to sit when the deity doors are closed. For example, sometimes Bhanu Maharaj is giving a presentation near Srila Prabhupada. What is that? That screen is there. And then devotees are sitting. But the moment the deity doors open, everyone turns like this and then we observe like this. But we never with our back to the deities. We don't do that. That's a seva aparadha. One should not offer obeisances silently to the spiritual master. Or in other words, one should recite aloud the prayers to the spiritual master while offering obeisances. Now, we have to implement this principle with guidance. Who is our spiritual master in the temple when you enter? Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so we can say loudly, Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pacharya Dasarane. We can say it loudly. But again, loudly doesn't mean we yell on top of our voice. Jai Srila Prabhupada! And then everyone is looking, kya ho gaya bhai? Not like that. Obviously, it has to be very natural, not affected, or with a desire to impress. Again, the same mentality. Main aa gaya, Jai Prabhupada! Not like that. It has to come from the heart at the end of the day. So, thanda, sober. With heart we offer. It's the feeling that is important, not the voice at the end of the day. But still, we still say it not within our mind. It's not like the Gayatri mantra. It's like the Hare Krishna mantra. You say it from your mouth. So when we like that, at least we should be able to hear. But we don't do this for our spiritual master. If our spiritual master is Maharaj XYZ, we don't say Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate XYZ Swami Niti Namine, so that everyone else knows whose disciple you are. Like that. So we don't do that in the temple. That we can do within our hearts. Like that. Or very silently we can do that. For example, when we do that is when that happens now that what's that called as? What prayers are that? Which is sung after every time Kirtan ke baad hote na? What is that called as? Prema Dhvani. When the Prema Dhvani prayers happen, Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. No, that when that happens, no, that whole thing. Samaved Bhaktivedanta ki Jai, Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki Jai. So that uske baad jab hota na, last mein all glories to the assembled devotees. Twice. Hare Krishna. Third time when it happens, then devotees are still bowing down. No? That time you say, Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate my Guru Maharaj Swami Niti Namine, Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine, Namaste Sir. All this we say and then we get up. Does it make sense? After the Prema Dhvani prayers. But we all say it in our hearts. Thoda sa. No? You can say it verbally, but not that we are shouting. But Prabhupada prayer you can say it very loudly. No problem. One should not fail to offer some praise in the presence of the spiritual master. One should not fail to offer some praise in the presence of the spiritual master. Okay, let's keep this open. Keep this point open. Can someone remind me? I'll check this and I don't want to speculate on this point. I'm thinking, unless someone has read and come.
I have a question on the one before
Yeah.
on the one that with the deities, with the place towards the deities.
Hang on, I can't even hear what he's asking. Haribo.
On the rule, when we read the back towards the deities.
I really can't hear you. Yeah.
With the back towards the deities.
Yes.
What is the etiquette during Prabhupada's Guru Puja ceremony?
No, that we are dancing, no? You are saying that when we are doing the Guru Puja, that the morning one. Yeah. So, yeah, we are not sitting with our backs to the deities, no, at that time. We are dancing. We are. Yeah.
It's only for that.
Yeah, it's for that particular. Yeah.
Guru Puja purpose.
It is still we are glorifying the spiritual master, so that's fine. Again, there are certain things which the acharyas have established, so then we can follow that without fear. Otherwise, Prabhupada wouldn't have established that. One should not fail to offer some praise. Yeah, we saw that. One should. So, point number 30. Somebody will remind. I have to remind me after the class. Huh? That is 30 point. One should not praise himself before the spiritual master. We don't do it grossly, but we do it subtly. गुरु महाराज कुछ नहीं महाराज कुछ नहीं बस थोड़ा बस डेटी सर्विस कर लेता हूँ बस महाराज बस थोड़ा preaching कर लिया बस nothing Maharaj, I'm not doing anything, really very fallen Maharaj, just that loft program somehow I try to serve Maharaj, some devotees are becoming now, preaching Maharaj, nothing much, what I mean. It's called Hindi में सुमड़ी में बोल दिया. So we do, so not grossly, but not, what I mean, what do you call that? सुमड़ी में क्या बोलते हैं? हाँ? What is the English word? You have to tell me now. Subtly, slyly, not cleverly telling. No? Cleverly telling about your achievements, because the spiritual masters are quick to read it. They are very fast to read. Why you are telling them something? Very fast they are. So we all sometimes do it because we are all fallen. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So sometimes it happens. We all do it. But it should not be done. In fact, we should not do it in front of anyone. Bragging about our services or whatever. One should not deride the demigods before the deity. Why? Because they are also devotees of the Lord. Okay. So we don't deride the demigod before the deities. So these are the list of 32 offences. Besides these, there are a number of offences which are mentioned in the Varaha Purana. So we'll read that also. One should not touch the deities in a dark room. I will not be able to explain you each and every why it is like that. No? Don't ask me. I don't know. And it's not required to know all these things also. I mean, it's required to know the thing, but why it is like that we may not be able to explain, because there will be some Sastri. These are all books which are quoting from here and there. Now, why something is like that, we may not know. But if you are really, if you believe your chanting is not attentive because you do not understand this, then let me know. Disturbing you. I want to very seriously follow. One should not touch the deity in a dark room. Okay. One should not fail to strictly follow the rules and regulations in worshipping the deities. I think it's common sense. One should not enter the temple of the deity without first making some sound. What is that sound we make? Otherwise, don't make other sound. While coming.
So, is it mandatory to make that sound? Because sometimes, most of the time, at least, I don't do it.
So okay. So when in doubt, Prabhupada always said, we are right now doing Ambarish Maharaj's pastime. Okay? And we learnt a very important lesson there. Ambarish Maharaj was in a situation wherein Dwadashi was there, Ekadashi was there, Dwadashi time had come, Durvasa Muni had come to his palace. Durvasa Muni bolta, "Thero, मैं पहला स्नान करके आता हूँ, बाद में खाएंगे." It was like that. But the fast time was fast approaching. So he was in a dilemma whether to break the fast, because Durvasa Muni is still not come. The Atithi has come to my house. He has gone to take bath. Should I eat without him? Because if I break the fast, then I am doing offense to Durvasa Muni. And if I am not breaking the fast, then I am doing offense to Ekadashi, because it has been ordained by the other acharyas have said you have to break the fast before that time. So what should I do? So then what he did, he consulted some brahmanas. And what happened? The brahmanas were from the Indian diplomatic services. Depends. No? Something. He didn't get any answer. In Tamil we call vada vada pada pada answer. They didn't give any proper answer. Na idhar na udhar. Kuch bhi nahi bola. So they sat on the fence. So what happened? So what did Ambarish Maharaj do? He used his intelligence. Prabhupada writes, devotees have to use their, in the purport to that Prabhupada writing, devotees have to use their intelligence. So he knew that as per the Vedic literature, drinking water is as good as breaking a fast and as good as not breaking the fast. Dono bhi hai. So then he used his intelligence and did that. So then why are we discussing this? One should not enter the temple of the deity without making some sound. So for example, if you are entering the temple and then let's say Jayapataka Maharaj is sitting there and giving a Bhagavatam class, everyone is intently listening to him, and then you come. Abhi zarurat hai uska. Right? So even if you have to make some, touch karo aisa. Or simply, that's all. This is all we do. Even when we take the bhoga, what do? This we do, or ting ting, just like that. Even actually when we ring the bell, no, I remember in my house how people used to ring the bell before, we all became devotees. Ting 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 ting, कोई भी भाग जाएगा ऐसा. It's like school का bell जैसा लगता है. School में bell बजता है ना ऐसा. Even the Lord will get irritated. अरे ठीक है भाई, अभी बस हो गया. Now I know you are hungry now. So we have to ring even gentle sound. That's all. Even when we are ringing the bell, even while doing arati, we don't do not like that, very gently we play like that. Everything has to be gentle in front of the Lord. So we have to use our intelligence when we come inside. What sound we want to make. Okay. One should not break silence while worshipping. One should not offer any foodstuff to the deity which has been seen by dogs or other lower animals. Huh? One should not offer any foodstuff to the deity which has been seen by dogs or other lower animals. Why? Because when dog sees food, it takes its tongue out and it is mentally already enjoyed that food. But at the same time, we should also not have the dog's mentality. For example, it happens. No? Especially it happens during Janmashtami and all, when the wife is cooking nice things for the Lord and अपना fasting चल रहा है इधर. बोल रहा है ये जन्माष्टमी आता क्यों है यार? And we are waiting to devour it, We're thinking अरे बाप रे क्या क्या बनाया है यार अभी. कल तक तो आज तो एकादशी fasting है, कल ही खाने को मिलेगा. It's almost like that. The mind sometimes. Am I the only one or what? All of you are looking at it as if I have come from the hellish planet. Sure, there are many more. Okay, so that should not happen. Okay, we should not subtly enjoy the bhoga before offering it to the Lord, even within our mind. That's a seva aparad. So not having the dog's mentality. That is why it is covered before offering. Yeah, correct.
I heard
in the temple we are safe, in the home we are not.
Prabhu, I heard in the Jagannath Puri, when they actually make the food for the Lord, they are told all the brahmanas, come, you eat, and then you come. Take up a sadham, come, and then prepare the food.
That's a good idea.
So, so that's the same mentality, so they should not have, because they don't want it.
Correct. But in Janmashtami it becomes difficult. That's why Janmashtami. Other times, yeah, it's possible. One should not break silence while worshipping. So, in the altar when we are talking like that, usually we don't talk. You will not find pujaris usually talking. Sometimes it may happen, very, emergency situation, something is not available, suddenly somebody has forgotten to, whoever does the service of putting the plates together, on flower bhul gaya, for example, and then kya karega? Then you have to ask. But usually we don't talk while worshipping the deities. Inside the altar, no talking. One should not pass urine or evacuate while engaging in worshipping. Obviously, common sense. One should not offer incense without offering some flower. One should not offer incense without offering some flower. Useless flowers without any fragrance should not be offered. Difficult in Melbourne. One should not fail to wash his teeth very carefully every day. क्या पता है मेरे? 3 बार नहीं लिखा है लेकिन. We were having a discussion whether one should brush 3 times a day teeth every day. Yeah. So he's pointing finger at me.
Prabhu, that's the previous one, the useless flower. I was saying that if any flower looks very nice, but it doesn't have the fragrance, so is that classified as useless?
So we can't smell and then go and offer it.
Use your intelligence. What can I say? Ask the pujari. I don't know. I really don't know. Okay. See, again, we are living in a country where we are not going to get many fragrant flowers. See, please understand again. Okay. So, we are not living in a country where we have all these luxuries. Again, understand, what is the most important rule?
Seva.
Yeah. At the end of the day, please understand, the Lord is not looking at the fragrance of the flower. The Lord is looking at a fragrant heart. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tad aham bhakti upahritam asnami prayatanmana. So with bhakti, even if you offer kela ka chilka, which is not even tasty, the Lord still tastes it like nectar. Whose pastime is this? Vidura. When Vidura's wife was watching the Lord and she was so attracted by the beauty of the Lord, she was throwing the banana away and giving him kela ka chilka. And the Lord was eating it with taste. Right? Or Bhishma Dev was firing arrows at the Lord. In Srimad Bhagavatam, you read it in first canto. In the field of Kurukshetra, Bhishma was firing arrows at the Lord. So Prabhupada writes, these arrows were piercing the Lord. It was like, he also showed some blood and all. This was a pastime between him and Bhishma. Bhishma knew. Bhishma is who? He is a Mahajan, one of the Mahajanas. Swayambhu, Narado, Shambhu, Kumaro, Kapilo, Manu. What is the other one? Prahlado, Janako, Bhishmo, Balir, Vayasaki, Vayam. These are the Mahajanas. So Bhishma is one of the Mahajanas. Why will a Mahajana want to fire arrows at the Lord? And if one is firing arrows at the Lord, how can you call such a person Mahajan? Even Hiranyakashipu tried to kill the Lord. Is he different or no from Bhishma? And Bhishma was also on the side of the Kauravas, but he was a devotee. Please understand, he is still known as a Mahajan. So the pastime is what? That they are exchanging the rasa of chivalry. Okay. That's a rasa. That's one of the rasas when the Lord wants to fight with his devotees. Okay. So the Lord says, Prabhupada writes, the arrows which Bhishma shot, it was actually he was actually as if it was doing Pushpa Abhishek to the Lord. The Lord took it like that. He was enjoying because every arrow was out of love. Like that. So we have to understand that a flower which is offered, which otherwise doesn't have fragrance, if the heart is fragrant, if it is offered, the Lord accepts it. So that is the only principle we can answer. Otherwise, from a Shastric point of view, Vedic point of view, it is difficult to explain this point. It should not be done. It's clearly said. But the highest principle is that the Lord should be satisfied.
The Lord is Bhavagari.
The Lord is Bhavagari. Correct. One should not enter the temple directly after sexual intercourse. Obviously. One should not touch a woman during her menstrual period. Very difficult. But when we say touch, that means you don't have any kind of illicit relationship. That we do not have even ordinarily. But we should not specifically have during this period. But if it is required for service, then everything is okay. For example, if you have to take the plate from the wife's hands to offer to the Lord, you have to do it. That is for service. It's a practical arrangement in Kali Yuga. Otherwise, we will never be able to offer bhoga. Especially if the husband is like me, no chance. Before, if I cook, you don't know, deities may not stay for too long. Okay, Lord will say, ठीक है मैं बोला भक्ति है, I only accept bhakti, but इतना भी नहीं, थोड़ा ठीक. One should not enter the temple after touching a dead body. Please don't enter after touching a dead body, okay? One should not enter the temple wearing garments of red or blue color or garments which are unwashed.
What is this?
Don't wear the jacket. Remove it immediately. Immediately remove it. One should not wear. Okay, so I don't know why red or blue color or garments which are unwashed. Anyone knows why this is so? Can you mark all these points? We'll still ask some.
Red and blue colors are very attractive. Basically, rather than looking at the deities, you're looking at the colors.
Is it? So red and blue color.
Don't wear red and blue color.
Because we should not go on. Okay, here is another viewpoint. Keshav Prabhu said we should not go to the altar with those colors.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other views? Alright, so mark all these points because these are not clear. Jagan Prabhu, send me an email and we'll shoot it out. One should not enter the. Haribol. The parent has to manage. Don't wait for other people to manage.
So the last point, unwashed.
One should not. Sorry?
The last point, there is like one garment which are unwashed.
Garments which are unwashed, yes. So usually what happens, garments which are worn after we go to the bathroom, not for one but for two, number two, okay, then we don't, in fact we don't even put on those garments, okay, except if we are doing any service. Night time it's okay, just when you're retiring to bed, but then again don't touch the altar with those clothes. A devotee always takes bath after that. One should not be angry, one should not pass air within the temple. Okay. One should not be angry within the temple. One should not enter the temple after visiting a crematorium. Some of the points are repeating, so I'll go fast. One should not belch before the deities, especially after a heavy prasadam. So until one has fully digested his food, he should not enter the temple. Better don't overeat. Too much puris and you're doing takar in front of the Lord. One should not smoke marijuana. Marijuana, whatever you call it, or ganja. I am sure that you can imagine what all Prabhupada has seen. When you see this, Prabhupada had to write so specifically all these things. One should not smoke marijuana. How do you pronounce? Marijuana. One should not take opium or similar intoxication. Next point. One should not take opium or similar intoxicants. One should not enter the Haribol. One should not enter the deity room or touch the body of the deity after having smeared oil all over his body. One should not show disrespect to a scripture teaching about the supremacy of the Lord. So don't disrespect the scriptures. Again I am quoting that verse. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnur aradhananam param tasmat parataram devim tadiyanam samarchanam. Out of all the worship, aradhananam sarvesham is what? Highest worship is worship of Lord Krishna. Vishnur aradhanam param, sabse upar. Tasmat parataram devim. But my dear Devi, tadiyanam samarchanam. Higher than worshipping Lord Vishnu is worshipping the paraphernalia, everything that is associated, all vastu, all people who are associated with Lord Vishnu. So who are the people associated with Lord Vishnu? Devotees. So devotees are more worshipable than the Lord, and the paraphernalia of devotional worship has to be respected more than the Lord because they are His paraphernalia. Does it make sense? So in that sense, any scripture which is also talking about the Lord should be respected as good or more than the deity. One should not introduce any opposing scripture. One should not chew betel before the deity. Don't come with pan and pan parag and all that into the temple. One should not offer a flower which was kept in an unclean pot. One should not worship the Lord while sitting on the bare floor. What are you struggling with that? Look at her. But you're doing a good job. Thank you. Thank you. One should not worship the Lord while sitting on the bare floor. One must have a sitting place or a carpet. So if you observe carefully, when we are also worshipping the deity inside the altar, we are not standing on the bare floor. There is always a mat below her. One should, even at home also, we have a mat and then, unless you have a carpet. Even in a carpet we should have a mat. Is it? I don't know. But not on the bare floor. Some cloth should be there. One should not touch the deity before one has completed taking bath, which we already discussed. So anytime we visit the toilet for excreta, not urine, but we must take bath after that. You will learn that in deity worship also. Ashwin Kavat Prabhu will tell you. One should not decorate his forehead with the three-lined tilak. Okay? Huh? Like that. That is what? That is Mayavadi tilak. Mayavadi tilak. Saivite, but mostly Mayavadis. Saivites means Mayavadis. Who is a Saivite? Who is a real Saivite? We really have to understand now. I know it is a bit of a difficult discussion, but who is a Saivite? Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu. We all know that. Lord Shiva himself is saying Aradhananam Sarvesham, that verse which I told just now. Out of all the worship, whose worship is highest? Vishnu. Who is saying that? Shiva is saying that to Parvati in Padma Puran. Aradhananam Sarvesham, Vishnu or Aradhanam Param. Why did he say like that? Right? Because he is Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. In Bhagavatam, time and again it comes, Shiva's prayers. Even now, we are studying that. Bali Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj, when Durvasa Muni offends Ambarish Maharaj, he takes a hair from his head and then he creates a demon. And then he tells Ambarish Maharaj, you drank water and now this demon will kill you. Right? But Ambarish Maharaj, being a devotee, he doesn't react at all. But what happens? Ambarish Maharaj is always protected by the Lord by his Sudarshan Chakra. So Sudarshan Chakra starts chasing Durvasa Muni. So he runs all over the universe. First he goes to Brahma. Brahma bolta, mera paas kyun aaya? Main kya kar sakta? This man. Everything is ordained by the Supreme Lord himself. Jab Bhagwan ne tere ko punishment diya hai, to I cannot overrule that because it has come from higher authority. If it's coming from, the Deputy General of Police, then what can the Havaldar do? Then he goes to Lord Shiva. Shiva is also clearly saying that I am also subordinate to the Lord in Sanskrit. It's not that, some people say, Prabhupada ne translation mein English mein likha hai. No. Prabhupada only wrote in purport, but there is no English word to word translation is there. Because I know how the mind will work. Hum to Saivite ho. Usually, people, just because putting like this doesn't mean somebody is Saivite. As much as just putting vertical line doesn't mean that one is Vaishnava. Okay? There are enough of Vaishnavas who will put that single vertical line and who will sit like that. Nangalna Shivan Kovil ko pohave mata. They will tell, proudly they will tell. We don't go to Shiva temples at all. Like that they'll say. Is this something very worth boasting about? I have got many people. I remember once somebody had come to my house from some place, Uppuleppan Koil or someone. We don't go to Shiva's temples at all. Like Tamil mein he was saying, Mama was selling with Veshti. अभी उसको क्या बोलेगा? Very good. Okay, so this is not pride. It's half knowledge. It's just the moment you are pride, you are not even qualified to be a Vishnu disciple. At the end of the day. So, in fact, it is the Vaishnavas who respect Lord Shiva more than these people. Even if these people go to Shiva temple, putting 3 lines, etc., they will ask what?
Material. Material things.
They will ask material things only, or they will say that I want impersonal liberation. I also want to become God. That is the whole Mayavad philosophy is that. So we don't do that. Or the other worshippers of Shiva who will say, what is that? Jai Jai Shiva Shankar, Kata Lage na Kankar. What is that song? Kya pyala tere naam ka piya. So they will do what? Bhang pike, Shiva bhi pite, hum bhi pite, bhang pite. They will celebrate all these functions and say, hum to Shiva Bhakt. So this is not this nonsense. This is nothing of this is Shiva Bhakti. Shiva Bhakti, please understand, is nothing different from worshipping Vishnu. Because he is always engaged in worshipping Vishnu. So he will always be very happy with devotees of Vishnu. So we also worship Lord Shiva. We don't, now somebody will ask, why don't we worship Shivaratri? No. That is because the Acharya said, didn't feel the need for that. It is not necessary to worship Shivaratri. Okay. Lord Shiva will not get angry. Mera kyun nahi kiya boss? It's not like that. Why? Because he is very happy that devotees are worshipping. Or if you still want further evidence in Bhagavatam, read the Mohini avatar pastime. Lord Shiva was also bewildered by the beauty of Mohini such that he discharged semen. He was running around all over the universe behind that. So even Lord Shiva can come under the modes of material nature. But Lord Krishna never comes under the modes of material nature. Maya Dhyakshena Prakrite. So we have 2 more minutes.
Keshav Prabhu did highlight that when he enters into Vrindavan, he gives respect to Lord Shiva.
We all should respect Lord Shiva.
Everyone should respect because as part of Kshetra Palak.
Yes. Even if we are not told also, we worship Lord Shiva always. In fact, we have more space for Lord Shiva in our hearts because of Krishna Bhakti. Because we appreciate the exalted position of Lord Shiva. We don't consider him as an order supplier for our material needs, which is what people may do. I am not saying all 3-line people are like that. Maybe there may be some genuine Shiva Bhaktas, but it is very rare. Out of that, it is very rare someone is a genuine Shiva Bhakt in this world. It's very, very rare. And who is not a Mayavadi on top of that.
Also because the highest in the material realm, the thickest layer is false ego, and those who have control of the false ego.
Correct. Yeah. Good point. One should not show disrespect to a scripture. Yeah, we discussed that. One should not introduce opposing scripture, chew betel nut. One should not offer a flower. Where were we? One should not decorate his forehead. Yeah. So last point. One should not enter the temple without washing his hands and feet. Again it is coming. So at least we should wash our mouth and hands. Okay. But if we have gone to the toilet, definitely we must wash our feet. I mean, even bathroom. If you have gone to the toilet, we should take a bath, full bath. But if you have gone for urination, then at least we must wash our feet. That is definitely there. But otherwise, then at least wash the mouth if you have taken prasadam. Okay. So these are different rules. Okay. So these are all seva aparadhs. So one must be very careful not to perform these seva aparadhs, lest our taste for devotional life goes away because of this. Okay. Carefully guard against seva aparadh. In the next class, we will look at what is called as Nam aparadh, which has got serious repercussions. We will do that. Srila Prabhupada ki